and the topic of the day is discussing about the future of leadership and organization. I think that's what had you see the invitation, and that's why you're here, right? Thank you very much for registering, and thank you very much for being interested to participate in this introduction, right? So, May and welcome. Nice to see you. Right. So it would be great if some of you, if wherever you're possible, I don't know where you are right now, but if it's possible for you to switch on the video, right? So that will give me a lot of energy, by the way, because I'm then speaking to people. I can see faces, right? Rather than being given by a name over there. Doesn't mind. It's okay for me. I could still communicate, but it'll be great if you could do that. Okay. Those of you can switch on. At least when you have a question, if you can do that, it'll be great. But my request is that, that if you could participate, fully being attentive here, you could take away something of value tonight or this evening, right? And that's our interest. We are committed to deliver some value here. So to begin with, let me introduce myself. Uh, I come from Bangalore. I live in Bangalore. I have around 33 years of experience working in the corporates. Um, Currently, I'm working with a company called Schneider Electric. I'm consulting them rather into developing the technical education landscape in this country to be more applied engineering focused. We have a lot of theories learned. We are good at theories, but our access to applied engineering skills begins only when a student joins an industry. So we want to make them industry ready. So Schneider Electric is uh, one of the largest electrical and automation engineering company in the world. Our intention is to give students an access to have access to applied engineering skills. So we're offering them the technology labs and smart city technologies and smart manufacturing technologies. I had that initiative in India. And prior to which I have worked with a company called ABB, another multinational company based out of Europe. I was one of their vice presidents way back in 2006. But then something happened. I went through a transformation experience and I changed my career from the business to leadership and people development in the area of transformation. I worked 6 years in that line, worked with a large transformative company called Landmark Education Worldwide. Some of you would have heard that. I worked with them, and then I worked with Wipro Technologies in the talent transformation group, uh, in the for development of the leaders, and then I came back to business again. Uh, so the last company I worked with is a company called Centum Electronics. I was heading the operations, around 600 people, etc. So that's a brief background of me. I'm really passionate about working with people and transformation. That's like, last 18 years I've been engaged in that, and I had the privilege and opportunity to transform thousands of people, where I had an opportunity to do that. So that's a little about me. So I'm going to also share with you who we are as a team. So I'm going to share the screen. We as a team, we call ourselves Emerging Futures. Okay, we are a team of leadership and organizational development experts, which each one of us have more than around 2 decades of experience and operating across the globe. One of the leaders come from UK. We have another leader in Southeast Asia. Three of us from India, and we are, constantly keep creating more and more partners into fulfilling the larger intention that we have. And we are all trained in transformation principles, right? Both at the level at the self and at the level of the collective. And we have had the privilege of working deeply with hundreds and thousands of people and with several organizations. So that's a little about us. And what is our commitment? Our commitment is to create a new civilization on the planet. And we talk about new civilization, it's a very, very a large context when we say new civilization on the planet. What we mean is, in a simple term, is where people are operating from eco consciousness. which is a shift from the default ego consciousness. Why do I say it's default? It's like how uh, fish is to water, right? It moment the fish is born, it starts swimming. So the default consciousness that we as human beings work is from ego. And what do we mean by ego? Ego is not the colloquial way, especially in India, we say it's like ego is something like bad. It's like we say ahankar and ego. That's what normally we get the meaning of ego. We don't mean that. We mean ego is operating from a boundary. And it could be a boundary at the level of yourself as an individual. It could be a boundary at the level of your team. It could be a boundary at the level of your organization. It could be a boundary at the level of your, of your state. If you're bound, could be a boundary at the level of your nation, right? The more you shift from that ego that you're operating from, whatever that ego state that you're operating from, and shift outside of it, that becomes ego, right? And then it enhances or creates a new consciousness about what's there in the world, and as you see things that you never seen before, which is you are able to create an awareness, and your actions will be awareness based collective action. That's what we call it. So our intention is then to create an abundance of leaders who are operating from awareness based collective action. That's what we're intending to. Okay, so that's a little about who we are. And these are some of the faculties: Ferdi D'Souza from UK, Vivek from Delhi, Manoj from Ahmedabad. I operate from Bangalore. Collectively, we have more than 75 years of experience working with individuals and organizations. So that's a little about who we are as Emerging Futures. All right, so let me share with you what is the intention of this session today. The intention of this session is to distinguish for you the future of leadership and organizational transformation that is possible in the VUCA world through the principles of theory U. So the first intention is to distinguish for you the future of leadership and the organizational transformation that is possible in the VUCA world through the principles of theory U. And the second intention is presenting you with an opportunity to develop yourself to be a leader who can lead from the emerging future. Now, this is for some of you, you've not been aware about the principles of theory U, could be counterintuitive to listen to something called leading from the emerging future. What does it mean? The future has not emerged. The future is yet to happen. How can I lead from the emerging future, right? And that's because, again, by default, we lead from what we know from the past, referencing the past. That's the default way of living life. All of us. If you're not conscious, if I'm not conscious, doesn't mean I am now aware. Only when I'm aware that I am referenced in the past, I have an opportunity to let go and have an opportunity to sense the emerging future and lead from the emerging future. So our work is all about that, developing you as leaders who can lead from the emerging future. So that's the intention of this session today. And this is based on the principles of theory U developed by Professor Otto Scharmer. Otto Scharmer is from MIT and he's also the founder of the Presencing Institute. And this has been done, or this has been created out of 2 decades, more than 2 decades of research. It has been implemented across various organizations across the world, companies like Google, Alibaba, McKinsey, World Bank, and many more. And most of you would have heard about this term systems thinking. This is directly coming from the world of systems thinking, and more than 100,000 people in the world have been trained as in these principles. So that's a little about where it is coming from, who we are, where we come, what is our commitment, and where all that we're going to talk today is going to come from. So this introduction or this session, this is a 2-hour introduction, okay? Because the actual program that we lead It's approximately it's around 16 plus 12, around 30 hours. It's a 30 hours program to lead. So it's a 2 hours introduction of a 30-hour program. Okay. So in this introduction, you're going to get a sense of what we're talking about, a sense of it. Then you can see how it can make a difference for you as a leader and for your organization or the communities that you're leading, right? And then look and see if you want to participate with us. All right, so we're going to start looking at as leaders, right? So I think I put the wrong thing over there. Okay. All right. So first thing that we're going to start looking at is asking you the question, what are your challenges as a leader? Right? You can, or what are your challenges of your organization? So take a clean sheet of paper, right? If you have it with you, or you can write it on your notepad, take a minute and write down what comes up for you on the top of your head. These are the challenges of, me as a leader. These are my challenges as a leader. And these are the challenges of my organization. And some of you can use the chat box. You can type it on the chat, right? But it's important that you collect that with you today. Take a minute. I'm going to give you a minute. Note down what are your challenges as a leader. And what are your challenges? What are the challenges of your organization? And if some of you already done it, you could unmute and share with me so I know what are the challenges, what are your challenges as a leader, and what are your challenges as a at the level of your organization. All right, so who would like to share? What are your challenges as a leader? Or what are the challenges of your organization? Change management, okay? Now, more specific, it will be better for you and better for us as well. Change management in what? No, it's a very general thing. If you could say, I have a change management issue in changing culture, it could be, specific. Thank you very much, RC. Change management. Who else? What are your challenges as a leader? Stakeholder management. Okay, I got that. Atul, thank you very much for sharing. Reena, would you like to share? Nutan, would you like to share your challenges as a leader or challenges of your organization? You got to unmute. Multicultural context. Atul, I got it. It's your challenge. Nutan is saying changing mindset while dealing with uh, ostrich syndrome. Wow, okay. Very nice to hear that new terminology. Prashant, finding the right human capital. Okay, I got it. Prashant seems to be you're from HR, right? Okay. Shafi Pandit, how to balance between profit and social responsibility. Excellent. Very good. Social responsibility and profit. All right. Tina, you want to say something? What are your challenges?
I'm a housewife, so my challenges is not so big. But yes, I am also struggling with the management, what Atul shared, that stakeholder management and the small issues of house. But still, as a individual, a person, I want to do something for the society where uh, I don't want the people to be set into the boundary of their religion. uh, I want them to look at the bigger picture, and as a human being, context.
All right.
That's what I want to do, something in that field.
Very good.
I want the people to be uh, uh, recognized by their own identity, not by the religion or whatever it may be.
Got it. Got
Your
it.
own identity. Yes.
Got it, Pina. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking on something larger than, about yourself. Most people have challenges about themselves, and I'm very glad to hear that you have a challenge which is, trying to create oneness in the whole world, right? Beyond the boundaries of religion, etc. Thank you very much for sharing. I got that. But look at what is that's the intention. But what's your challenge inside of that? Okay. Inside of their intention, what is your challenge? So keep looking at it. Okay, good. Anybody else would like to share? So I presume that all of you, AB, you shared already. What is your challenge? Yeah, you shared. Yeah, juggling many different agenda and also the things done by the people. Yeah, juggling many agenda. I got it. So I presume everybody has articulated for yourself what is the challenge for you dealing with as a leader, and what are the challenges at the level of your organization. So the next thing that we're going to look at is very important. We're going to look at this question. Okay, look at this question. Why do you think the challenge exists? Why does your challenge exist? Who would like to answer that? Now, this is what you got to see from your perspective. This is I have a challenge, right? I have a challenge of doing, multiple things. I have a challenge of creating, the oneness in the society, or I have a challenge of uh, balancing profitability and social responsibility. Each one of you have an. Why do you think the challenges exist? Who would like to share? And go ahead, share that upfront right now. Unmute and share. Don't have to ask me. Unmute and share, or put it on your, um, put it on the chat box. Right. Managing growth. The
Long
stage.
time ago,
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Long
Pandit. Go
time
ahead.
ago, I was told that there are two kinds of leadership. One is the transactional leadership, another is transformational leadership.
Right.
And that's why I raised this point regarding the challenge that I indicated, that
Right.
is balancing between social responsibility and profit. Well, the profit is that really emerges out of transactional response leadership.
Right.
This social responsibility comes from transactional leadership. You have to
I got it.
develop a sense in that. So that's why, I'm very concerned about it now. And now that I'm at the fag end of my life, I want to give more emphasis to the social responsibility.
Got it. So you saying, in other words, in the world there is an abundance of transaction leadership, and you have to deal with that.
Yes, yes.
You're 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 experiencing not much power in dealing with the transformative leadership, and that's why the challenge exists for you, right?
Challenge exists, yes, of course, because
Yeah.
the promoters of the company that I'm managing at the moment, they're private individuals and they want more and more
Yeah.
profit.
Yeah. You're dealing with a set of people who are focused on
And
profits.
it also comes from the government because
Yeah.
it's sort of a hybrid organization.
And your heart is towards
There's
social
public
responsibility.
investment in this company. There's also
Perfect.
from the
Perfect.
private sector.
Got it. Got it. Thank you very much. I got that. Okay. Prashant is saying the challenge exists because managing growth in the changing business ecosystem. I got it. Monica, because of broader outlook and perspectives. Okay. I got that. RC says adapting to improved ways of doing things. Okay. And he is using the Shafiji's, case. Why should nappy manufacturers worry about the fact that nappies take 800 years to decompose? Why show transformational leadership? Okay, I got it. All right. Who else? Nutan, have you shared why does the challenge that you are having exist?
Yeah, so I have shared it on the chat, this Nutan year.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
feel, especially at the transformational leadership happens at a very senior level,
Okay.
because it's driven more from the top down.
Okay.
There, the challenge at times, after a point of time, is challenges linking the individual aspiration to the organizational purpose. So the ability to look at the larger picture is there, but the need and linking of individual aspirational, where do they say themselves in
Right.
that role? At times, I feel is a challenge.
Got it. So you are challenged by that, right?
Yeah.
The challenge exists because you're challenged by the ability to link individual aspirations to the organizational purpose. You're challenged by that. That's why the challenge exists for you. Right. I got it. Thank you very much. AB is saying it's because it's so hard for everyone to let go of ego and fear. I got it, AB. That's why the challenge exists for you. And Monica says we need to deal with diverse people needs. So that is the first level of inquiry to look at. Why do these challenges exist? See, we normally do not look at our challenges that way. We say, I have a challenge and let me give me a solution to it. We look for outwardly asking solutions for looking for solutions for, I have a challenge, I need a solution. I have a challenge, I need a solution. I look for. We never ask this question called, why does this exist for me? Why does it exist? It's a powerful way of looking at my own challenge. Why does it exist for me? Okay. Now, the next thing we can look at is, what are the challenges in the larger system about these challenges? This is a challenge I have, but what are the challenges in the larger system? Like Shafi Pandit said, the challenges of the larger system is there is a whole world looking for transaction, money, growth. But I am interested in creating money, but at the same time making a difference, a social development. The larger system is all about themselves, about the money, right? So if you look at your challenge, Pina, look at your challenge, Nutan, look at your challenge, AB, look at your challenge, RC, Rakesh, right? Everybody. You look at a challenge, ask yourself, this challenge I have, the exist and why it exists because of the, right? I got it. What's the challenge in the larger system? You consider the challenge in the larger system is impacting this challenge. And if you don't see it, right, what you can't see, you can't make a difference. So who would like to share what is the challenges in the larger system about your challenge? Who would like to share?
The prevalence of corruption in the system.
All right, got it. Very good. So very, very, very well done. The prevalence of corruption in the larger system. Wow, that's the challenge of the challenge that exists. Very good. Atul, challenge exists because of own interaction with outside. Strategy and transmission, communication, engagement. I'm sorry, Atul. It will be great if you could actually switch on your audio and speak, because sometimes simple words don't give me the entire world of what you want to communicate. That'll be really helpful if you could switch on the audio and speak. Who else? What are the challenges in the larger system? Your challenge exists because there is a challenge in the larger system.
Conflicting agendas.
Conflicting agendas. What kind of agenda? What are the conflicts you're talking about in your case?
So suppose we are talking about effective climate policy formulation at a federal or a central level.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter who's in charge. Policy development will take place depending on what different stakeholders want from the policy and how they influence or lobby this. The government may have a very good mindset when developing such a policy, but in the end, it will need to take on board all stakeholders. And the more powerful the stakeholder, the more powerful they say in this policy.
Very good. Very, very good. It's like there is a missing collective alignment to a purpose, right? There is
And it comes back to what you earlier said, Mr. Rao, that it is all dependent on ego. So the
Yeah,
more money a person has, the more ego driven they become. Ki,
right.
I know what's best for my company, and that's why I know what's best for the country and the world, or
Absolutely.
the globe.
You summed it. You summed it well. There is no collective alignment. There is a collective ego operating, right? Individuals operating in islands. And there's a whole energy is actually disseminated in everybody wanting their point of view to be out there, real in the world, not caring a damn about. I want to use that word damn about. What's the collective intention here? What needs to emerge? What needs really to happen? That's what we're talking about. A future that wants to emerge. We are not even able to sense it because we are in our own cocoon, own world, own island. Good. Then we're looking at another question, inside this challenge that you're dealing with. What are your blockages to deal with this challenge? You will have your own blockages. You're aware why it exists. You're aware what are the challenges of the larger system. What are your blockages to deal with the challenge? Who would like to share? What are your blockages? Yeah, go ahead.
I feel it's a very big system, and alone as an individual, I cannot change it.
So you're
Your voice don't put that impact
I got it.
on the system.
Right. It's a huge system. My voice will not carry any power. I cannot impact. Is it not? So Pina, that's your blockage in the system. Is it true? Is it real?
Uh,
It, it appears
yeah,
in many ways we are still fighting the Ramayana, the
Yeah,
evil versus the good.
right.
The good
So
is the forces of good are lesser compared to the forces of evil.
right, right. So for you, it appears that you're going to fight a war now, like Mahabharata or Ramayana again, right? That's how it lives for you. That's your blockage. For Pina, it lives for her that she's too small in that whole damn system. How can I impact? Right, Pina?
yeah.
Yeah, very good. Who else? What are your
So this
blockages?
this is Prashant here. So sometimes I feel that my experience becomes my blockage. You know,
Aha.
I
Okay.
have new ideas, I have
Right.
certain things, but maybe I have worked in a certain manner in the past, and sometimes that becomes a block.
Excellent. My own knowing about things, right?
Absolutely.
My own knowledge about things, my own become my limitation. I am my limitation. Excellent. Who else?
I know, hence I am.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I know, and I am. That's it. Very good. And I'm so happy that you recognize that as your blockage, because the more you are aware, the more you're freed up from it, the more you have something to say about it, something to do about it. Okay, very good. So that is your blockage. So you saw challenges exist at the level of a leader, challenges exist at the level of organization, and you saw why it exists. You have a sense of why it exists. You have a sense of what is there as a challenge in the larger system, inside of a challenge you're dealing with, and you saw your own blockages of it. Right now, the question is, how do you deal with it? You got to deal with it anyway, right? So I'm going to share now about the leadership as a what is the current leadership uh, state, right, in the world. What's the connect? So we're going to look at this. I'm going to give you an insight to this. This was actually shared by Brian Arthur, the CEO of Hanover Insurance. He summed it up very well. He said the success of the intervention by a leader depends on the internal state of the intervener. The success of the intervention by you as a leader. The success of your intervention as a leader depends on what? Your internal state, right? So, and what is your internal state made up of? Your internal state is made up of the quality of your intention, the quality of your attention. So, what do you mean by quality of intention? You could have a quality of intention called, your intention could be me, your intention to make, or it could be intention called, what does it really require? The intention of the eco, the intention of the team, intention of the organization, intention of your customers, intention of your nation, intention of your state, whatever. It could be your ego intention or your eco intention, right? The quality of intention could be ego, which is by default ego, and eco. The other one is what? Quality of your attention. Where is your, what are you attending to? Are you attending to the intention or attending to something else? And lot of things have been told about about attention to intention, right? A lot of things have been told about energy flows where attention goes. Your energy directly flows where attention goes. That's how we designed as human beings. But look at it, our attention are not most of the time into the intention. Our attention is into something else. So your internal state is a function of the quality of your intention and quality of your attention. And then that gives rise to your thoughts, thought models, behaviors, actions, and result. Now, this is a curtain raiser that I want you to keep in mind throughout this introduction. To look at my success depends on what? My internal state. And my internal state is made up of two things: quality of intention. It could be an ego intention or eco intention, and my quality of attention. Look and see the challenges that you're talking about today, which is there in front of you. What is the intention there? Is it a ego intention or eco intention? It may seem like, no, you may say, no, I have an eco intention. I want everybody to do well. I want to make a real big difference. That's who I am. Consider is not. Consider is not, because by default, we are not trained to discover our intention. It requires deep listening ability, listening to our own voice in the head. What does it say? We're coming to that. Because I'm saying right now, I just want to keep this like a reference to look at the next part of what we're going to discuss, that what is my internal state. So with that, we move to the next thing. Let's deal with some reality, okay? Look at the reality. What's the connect between leadership and organizational development? What's the connect between the leadership and the organizational development? Organization is nothing but a collective of leaders, right? Organization is nothing but a collective of leaders.
Leaders and followers have to be on the same page.
Yeah, there is this thing called followers, but if you look at each one of them are a leader on their own.
Implementers.
A leader on their own, right? So if you look at an organization is a collective of leaders, and then leaders impact the way people see, behave, and perform. So you as a leader impact the way people see, behave, and perform. I remember my first instance as leading a team, and until then I was one of the contributors. And when I took as leading as a team, first time I had a meeting, I saw when I opened my mouth, the whole room was silent. They were noticing and hearing, trying to listen to every word that came into my mouth. And I was like, came from my mouth. And I'm like, no, I've never experienced that before. That everybody is looking at me, everybody is present to me, everybody is listening to every word I'm speaking. And that moment I got that I have to be so aware that what comes from my mouth, because people are impacted by what I say, how I behave, how I perform, right? And leadership behavior passes like current in the telephone wire. You lift the phone, there's a flow of current already in those wires, right? That's how leadership behavior, and that's what Harvard Business Review said in one of those articles. Leadership behavior passes like current in the telephone wire. So that's the connect between the leadership and the organization. Now let's look at what's the current state of leadership in the world. Very, very important to know this. What's the current state? The current state, as per the Gallup study in July 2021, this year, they said it takes more than 20% pay rise to lure most employees from managers who engages them, and next to nothing to poach most disengaged workers. You just pay, approximate average around 20% you pay extra. You can pick away people with with whom you are engaged. You are engaging. Consider, but a whole lot of you are not engaging them at all. They are disengaged with you. They're disengaged with the organization. For them to be poached, it costs them nothing. And the loss of productivity of not engaged and actively disengaged employees is equal to 18% of their annual salary. 20% of this cost that you bear for the salary is gone or has no productivity, because in your organization and teams, they are actively disengaged. They're disconnected with the organization. So that's one data point. Look at the current state from leadership development programs. If you just Google right now, I did this in the morning, leadership development programs, right? It says 77 million different results comes. 77 million leadership development programs exist in the planet today. That's the opportunity. And if you look at organizational development programs, 4.6 million ways to develop organizational development programs. Okay, that's the data available in the world today. But with all these resources for developing leaders, why is there such a deficit of leaders in the world? The question to ask is, with all these resources being available, 77 million different programs, 4.6 different million programs in organizational development, why is still there is a deficit of leaders in the world? Who would like to share your point of view on that? Why do you think there is a deficit of leaders in the world?
Like you said earlier, in our mind, each of us is a leader.
Mm-hmm.
And that means that each of us has our viewpoint. We are only talking to react, not respond.
Mm. Very good. And what are you reacting to?
So suppose you say something, rather than listen, analyze, and then talk, I immediately have a response to whatever you have to say.
Yeah, automatic way. You, in a way that we are not aware, that we are not able to listen to what's happening over there. See, if you are aware about listening, you would actually listen. Okay. The blind spot of leadership or human beings is that we are not aware that we don't listen. It seems like I'm listening all the time. Very good. So not able to get the perspective of the other at all. That's the definition of leaders. Okay. Why? So that's very good. Who else? Why do you think there is a deficit of leaders in the world?
Leadership involves sacrifice.
Okay.
There's the large majority of people would like to follow the herd mentality. Just follow, that's it.
Okay. Very good point. What is the sacrifice you're talking about, sir?
No, because if you really want to be a good leader, then you have to sacrifice something, or you have to be a dictator. Then also you can be a leader. So that's a different kind of leadership. But if you really lead, with the motivational factor brought in, then that's a different ballgame.
Yeah, I would rather use a word instead of sacrifice, a word called letting go. Letting go your point of view.
It's not only your point of view, it's your own interest to some extent.
Yeah, maybe it may look like an interest. It may sound like an interest, but letting go something that you're holding on to. Let's say something that you're holding on to, that you think should emerge, that you think it should be, or is the best way. You think it's right. Maybe that's the sacrifice you're talking about. That's what I hear. Okay, good. Thank you very much. Who else? Why do you think there's a deficit of leaders in this world?
I also feel.
Go ahead, Monica, then somebody else. I didn't see that. Prashant, Monica, go ahead, Monica.
Maybe because as a leader, the example you just gave about the disengagement, and in order to bring the engagement of employees towards the work they are doing and towards their job, and making investment into the employees so they connect to the organization in a way. So it takes a lot from the leaders as well. So they are there in order to give instructions, not to follow up, and not to even, I would say, um, in the whole of the process where an employee needs them. So in order to make an employee engaged within the process, a leader has to be there, like holding hand of each of the employees so that they can connect with the organization. And the term you also talked about was collective alignment.
Right.
So all those missing links are basically the points which are the reasons of deficit being leaders in the country.
Yeah, it's a deficit of having an access to connect to people, to align to people, which I can hear in what you're saying. I have a deficit. Why there's a deficit of leadership is because I know something, but I don't have an access, a lever to actually do something. A door has a lever, right? You just pull down the lever, the door opens, right? I don't have a lever. I have just a door. Then I hit my head on the door. That's all I can, right? The lever, the access that is missing. And why do you think is missing? Why do you think is missing is the approach. It's the learning approach of leadership. What's available in the planet today? It could be the approach to learning about leadership is the problem. And what kind of leadership exists in the planet? Learning is in the planet. It is knowing more and more things. So you know all the 77 million I said, I bet 99.99% of those leadership theories that exist today tell you more about what is
Is there a connectivity issue? Everyone is seeing that?
SK?
I also feel so.
Yeah,
I think SK has just dropped off. Sorry, guys, just bear with us. I think he will be back anytime.
I'll give him a call.
No, I mean, man, I'm in touch with SK. Don't worry. Okay, he'll be joining. So why don't we just take this forward and see if anybody else wants to say anything about what was being discussed about lack of leadership in the world.
I think everyone has their own issues and they are indulged in it and they don't take a big responsibility on their head.
Can you hear me, Chaitanya?
Yeah, SK, you're back now.
Okay, good. I had a sudden disconnection of my network. I've connected through my mobile. Okay. I'm still waiting for my laptop to be connected. But anyway, I go ahead. Right.
I was
Consider,
just
yeah,
no,
it's yeah, I will go on. So
yeah, go on, go on.
it's a learning approach. And the learning approach is knowing more and more. Right? But notice knowing is good, knowing is great, but knowing hardly makes a difference. All of you know how to have a healthy and a trim body, right? Has it made a difference? How to have a healthy and a trim body? Everybody knows about it. Doesn't make any difference. So knowing how to have a healthy and body, actually having a healthy and body are two different worlds. Yeah, you taking action is important, but do you take action? You don't take action. Why? Because knowledge does not make a difference. The learning approach of leader lives in a different model. The model is transformative learning. And transformative learning lives in a domain of ontological domain, that is in the domain of being. It's shifting from knowing to being. So we invite you to consider that being an extraordinary leader is not about how much we know, what we are born with, or what positions we hold in the organization or the system. It's got nothing to do about how much you know, what we are born with, or what positions we hold in the society or in the organization. Nothing to do about that. Let me once again try if I can log in through my laptop. Okay. All right. So then it requires, as a transformation leader, 3 levels of transformation. The first level of transformation is transformation of your perception of what? Perception of others. And transformation of the perception of a situation. See, you're dealing with what? You're dealing with people. And you are what? You're already existing, views about them. That requires transformation. Transformation of people and transformation of the perception of the situation. How does it, like Pina said, how does the situation exist for us? Too big. I'm small. Can't deal with that. Larger system. Right? That's how it exists for us. Now, unless that is transformed, Pina wouldn't step out and take an action consistent with their intention, called I want oneness of the community, of the beyond the religions, what they're talking about. The transformation of the situation has to happen. Then what? Transformation of self, perception of self. You have a perception about yourself that I am this, I am that, I'm good at this, I'm not good at that, I'm helpless, I'm small. A certain, we could say, a strong identity and a belief around that identity that exists, that limits you to think anything beyond that. That limits you to take an action beyond that, unless you get to the source of it. Right? Get freed up from that. You have no other opportunity, other way to create it. Remember, I talked about the levers. There are 3 levers I'm talking about. First lever is transformation of the perception of others and situation, transformation, the perception of self, that I that you're talking about, that I that exists, and transformation. The third transformation is transforming the action, transforming your action. So transformation of perception of others and situation gives you an access to transformation of self, and transformation of self together gives you an opportunity for transformation of action. Let me say again. I couldn't. So anybody wants to say Anything about what I shared so far? What about this? What about that? How about this? How about that? Kind of.
SK, if I understand what you're trying to say, you're trying to say that if you want to bring in transformation, first you have to leave your past baggage of your experiences behind, and then look at what you want. Then look at self, and then you can put them to action. Is that what is the interpretation correct?
Yeah, kind of. But putting the past baggage is a very good term that you use. But in reality, it's not something is there in front of you like a bag that you can put it back, right?
No, so it's like past experiences.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, Nutan. I'm with you. I'm developing it more in what you're saying. Okay. It's about being aware about how I am given by the past. More and more you are aware about you are given by the past, you have a opportunity to let it go. But if you're not aware, it doesn't even exist. It's like good knowledge. Everybody says, I don't bring my past into the a new conversation. I don't bring past at all. I'm very clear. I operate from the future. Little do they know, they have no clue what they're talking about. Because they have no access to let go their past. Absolutely no access. They have knowledge. So you rightly said, but the access to that is being more and more aware. Okay, who else? Anybody else? Any questions? Anything else you want to share about what you heard so far? And I'm really sorry that I'm now connected through my phone and I'm not able to show you some slides that I wanted to show you. But I'm hoping that my internet.
SK, if you send the slides over to me, I can share the slides here for my system.
Oh yeah, but my internet is down on the laptop, so it's all in the laptop. I've sent it to. What you can do is you can contact Manoj. You can contact Manoj. I've shared that with Manoj.
Okay, let me do that now. Thank you.
Yeah, Manoj can do it for you. Okay. Good. Thanks, Chaitanya. Who else? Anybody has got any questions, comments?
Sir, I don't know whether I'm correct or not, but the whole process of transformation, I'm reading about like workplace spirituality, spiritual work environment and all. So one model is given by Ashish Pandey and Gupta sir, in which they have talked about harmony with self, harmony with environment, and one more is there that is transcendence. So is it somewhere related to what you were saying about having transformation in all those levels? Can this thing?
Yeah. In the sense, you have to bring a transformation in the perception, okay, about others in your life, your teams, your people in your life, right? There are people around you. We live in a community, or in an organization, we live with people, or in the state, in the country we live with. We have a perception about what India is. We have a perception of what Karnataka is. We have a perception of what Maharashtra is, right? We got to bring transformation beyond that perception about others, about the situation. What are the situation you're dealing with right now? What is my perception? It's like, it doesn't exist like a perception. It doesn't exist like a view. It's like, oh, that's it. You say, that is it. That is how it is. Like hard as rock, blue as blue, like that. It doesn't like, we never see that white light is a combination of 6 colors, right? 7 colors, right? We don't see that way. Just because we don't see, we say it's white, like that. Then transformation is the perception of yourself. What does Monica think about Monica? Is it true that Monica is this way? Is that the only way Monica is? You hear language people say, I am this way, you take it or leave it. Too bad for you, like that.
From what
and
I
then
gather,
transformation. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, who is this? I can't see you. Can you announce your name,
Anil
please?
over here. Can you see me?
Hey, Anil, go ahead, Anil. Yeah.
Yeah, hi. So from what I gather about, these perceptions, these filters, the way of looking at things, life, oneself, they pretty
Yeah.
much dissolve, in meditation. Pretty much,
Yeah.
the mind dissolves and you are actually at the heart level, and from there, when you relate to the world, when you talk about leadership, the friendliness, then it's a different transformation level. It doesn't have to be a mind shift, because then it's going to be like the same place. You're basically stuck in the contents of the mind. You go from A to B and B to C. So the shift occurs when those elements of awareness and when the mind drops, that's what I can say technically speaking, when the mind drops.
Yeah. So I get what you're saying.
And of course, meditation is the key. Otherwise, perception, yeah, one can go on and on. The filters would become A and then be a B filter, then be a C filter, then the A belief to B belief, C belief. So you're actually in the same trap, same circle.
Yeah. So it's a meditative state of mind you're talking about, right?
Well,
Welcome home.
meditation, yeah. You can't call it a state of mind, meditation, where
meditation
the mind is not
now.
there.
Yeah. So in
There's
reality,
if you actually look at Osho,
Manoj, sorry, yeah. Manoj, I think you are mixed up. Manoj.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry. We had a Anil. Can you hear it? Can you hear me, Anil?
I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay.
I can hear you.
I understand. I understand what you're talking. When you come out of your meditation, right? If I am to understand, if when somebody comes out of meditation, right, he's like a clean slate. There's no conversations over there, right? And then he's dealing with the world. Yeah.
That's right.
But I'm talking about, that's fine. But I'm talking about on the court, like rare. You're in the team. There are conversations happening. The ball is like you're on the court, like you're in the field. The ball is being thrown at you. How are you receiving it? How are you dealing with that? It's continuously happening. And we call in this work downloading. I'm skipping what I wanted to say a bit later. Downloading, we are all the time downloading. Downloading means what? Continuous judgment happening where we are. And not even aware that it's a judgment. Continuous, it's like habitual way of judging things without our knowledge. Keeps on happening. To be aware about it takes something. First, it takes is to be aware that I am downloading. I'm judging all the time. I'm cynical all the time. I'm fearful, like being aware. So awareness is the key over there. We get carried away with the state of mind. State of mind is good. I know. When you come to meditation, you feel very good about it. But being aware that something I am continuously downloading. If I'm not able to listen to that, I have no access to suspend that.
actually, I had 3 more.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, somebody had some conversation I heard. All right, Monica, you wanted to say something, Monica?
Yes, sir. I wanted to ask that is awareness is similar to acceptance, as in if we are being aware of anything, that means we are accepting that thing that I am lacking something or I need to resolve these issues. Are both things similar?
No, not similar. See, you have a challenge, right? Say, for example, and if you are aware you have a challenge, that you are aware about your challenge. Do you accept your challenge? I don't know. That is your choice. Being aware is different from the world of accepting. Not the same.
Sir, so in the process of transformation, accepting can be the first step that I am accepting these are the flaws or these are the issues I need to work, and then I'll be moving on to transformation of whatever.
No. In the process of transformation, being aware is the first step.
Okay.
Being aware that I don't listen is the first step. Monica, I get what I'm saying?
Yes,
when you're aware that you're not listening, you will begin to listen.
Okay.
That's the first step. Okay. Chaitanya, did you get the
Yeah,
slide?
I got the slide. SK, I'm going to share it now.
You can go to slide number 17.
I'll do that now. Just a second. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to go a little deeper into look at how do we go to slide number 17. Yeah, that one. Yeah. Okay. Slide number 17, you go. What you're showing is the first slide. Straight away go to slide 17 and show it up. Yeah, here. So what are we dealing with as leaders in the world? We are dealing with the symptoms. And what is the symptoms? Symptoms come from, there's an ecological divide. There are 3 divides which exist on the planet today. That is, we are disconnected with the ecosystem, the environment. That's the ecological divide. We are trying to use, as per the study, 1.5 times more than the resources that is available in the planet. That's the disconnect that we are causing. And there's a social divide. We are disconnected with people. The haves and have-nots, if you see, one bus full of people have 50% more than the wealth of this planet. Just one bus full of people. This is a social divide. And there's a spiritual divide. You and me are disconnected with ourselves. And the outcome is, in a year, more than 800,000 people commit suicide. That's the symptom. But if you go, that's like a top of the iceberg. When you go below the iceberg, what do you see? There are structures, thought processes. And the source of the structures and thought processes come from the ego mindset. So can you click on the slide further? There are 3 points, 4 points that has to come. Okay. So you cannot change a system unless you transform the consciousness. And you cannot transform the consciousness unless you make a system see and sense yourself. Like, unless you see it from the outside, you have to see yourself from the outside, or you as a group has to see from the outside. Itself and sense itself, you cannot. And consciousness begins. Next point, Chaitanya.
SK, we lost you. SK, we lost you for a couple of seconds. I think you should repeat what you said again.
All right. So I said that you cannot transform the consciousness unless you make source of our intentions are ego by default. Of a consciousness begins with, go to the next point, begins with we shifting from ego to ego. That's the first transformation. That I being aware that I operate from ego. Unless I catch myself, my ego, I have no access to shift to ego. And this is very, very funny, for most people, that we don't get it, that I have to be aware about my ego intention, or I have to be aware about my own limitation. Only I am aware, only then I have an opportunity for transformation. And for most people, it occurs like not a good thing to do. What should I look at me? We always look out. We don't look at ourselves. All right. So now let's look at in the challenges that you're talking about, right? Whatever each one of you said as a challenge. What do you think is your intention over there? So who would like to share? So I want to work with one person, right? And because there's not much time, work with one person to look at, if you can share your challenge, and let's discover it together, right? You can, Chaitanya, unshare so I can see people and go, yeah. And look at who would like to work with me to discover what is the intention, source of your intention in the challenge that you're dealing with. One person. And that person shall be open to discover something, not being right about the point of view. I can't help you there. Because when you come to the program, you'll be open. But right now you are exploring. So who would like to work with me?
The challenge which I'm experiencing in my work life, is that what we can talk about?
Yes, Anil, go ahead, Anil. Thank you. Thank you for volunteering.
Yeah, so the challenge which I'm accepting is, I don't know, was a blind spot.
Dealing with
Somehow results don't emerge.
Okay. So go a little more specific on that. Okay. What is the result you are expecting?
I'm into real estate, so the deals don't happen. There's a lot of work, there's a lot of hard work which I do, and everything is in place. I mean, all the good deeds, good intentions, the knowledge, the ability, the context. But it seems like there's something mysterious for which the marriages, the clicking doesn't really happen.
Got it.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So,
yeah. It's like it's infrequent, very very infrequent. It kind of
right.
stresses me.
Right. I got you. So what is the intention of making those deals?
To prove to myself that I'm not a loser, that I can win.
Got it. Can you see that? And that's the quality of the intention we talk about. So there is an intention called you have to win.
Right.
And that's considered is limited to you. That's the ego intention. Not like, don't take ego as like Onkar. Okay. It's not that. We're talking about a boundary. That you have to win is the intention that you're talking about. Okay. Now consider if you can shift it to an eco intention. What could be an eco intention over there? What could be the intention of your business?
Intention of this, sorry?
You're in business, right? Real estate business, right?
Right, sir.
Where your intention right now is I have to win in this game.
Right.
That is by default. Very good. Now, if you can look at what could you shift it as an eco intention, not about you, but out there for your customers, for the people who go to take up those real estate. What could be the eco intention that you could create?
Yeah, that could be something which I could create, right? But
you have to create. You have to create. Yeah, you have to actively create.
Yeah.
What could be an eco intention? Now, wait a minute, Anil. Rest of you, as I'm working with Anil, you look at your challenges, whatever challenges they're dealing with. It could be a leadership challenge, organizational challenge. Look at, discovered, see, be truthful and honest to you, like Anil was. To ask yourself, tell yourself, what is my intention here? And then see if it is an ego intention. I'm without even listening to you, I'm saying 99% it will be an ego intention. Why? Because nothing wrong with you. It's about us as human beings. By default, we live like that. So if you can let it go and say, what could be my eco intention? So Anil, go ahead. What could be your eco intention here in your business?
Could be the other being more important than me, the other's life, the other's job, the other's needs, the real estate needs.
Right.
Much more important than mine. Yeah. My fruits are the fallout
the customers.
Yeah, customer being more important than
need could be your eco intention, right? Could they having a great place or whatever that is, and you got to discover that. It may not come up straight away. You got to discover that, right? Now, if that could be the intention, whatever, like serving my customers' needs or whatever, if that is your intention, what could be possible for you?
then the me won't be there in the picture, and all the energy will be pouring into whatever to be done for that other.
Yeah, absolutely. And what will make, yeah, very good. Very good. Can you see there will be so much of, like it will be actually, let me tell you, it will be a world of innovation that comes up for you. Okay. A lot of innovative things will come up for you. And what will that make happen for you?
I'm sorry, say again.
What will that make available to you when you're playing the game that way?
Yeah, there'll be fulfillment. There'll be
Yeah,
satisfaction. There'll be like,
right.
a sense of worthiness of having actually
Correct.
living a worthy life of, giving
Yeah,
something to somebody. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And you will see your business will be an outcome of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
See, I'll tell you my own example. When I worked in my last company, which was I was heading operations of a 300 crore operations. When I went into the team, I saw the whole team, and this for everybody. The whole team was focused on revenue growth, and like as Pandit ji said, transactional, everything. But customers were upset. And one side in our town hall meetings, they were, acknowledging everybody that how much revenue, millions of dollars revenue we are churning out every month. Other side, when I listen to customers, they're upset. When I really got what customers were upset was, we were shipping the high value products, but the low value products we were not delivering on time. Without the low value products, customers could not build their own product and send it to their customers. That was complete disconnect. We shifted from a revenue focus to on-time delivery focus, which is what customer wanted. We shifted from that revenue focus to quality of service focus. And within 4 months' time, our on-time delivery was 52% moved on to 90, more than 92%. Okay. Then quality returns reduced. Then our revenue was an outcome, 60% growth in the revenue. Simply because the whole team shifted from ego to eco. I have to grow, to customers have to be fulfilled, satisfied. So that's the magic happens from ego to eco. And that's what we are interested in creating as leaders where you are. Now, let me tell you how the theory U principle works. Okay. Chaitanya, can you put up the slides? Thank you, Anil. Thank you for working with me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ram. Yeah.
Chaitanya, can you share the slides?
Yeah, I'm doing it. One second.
Go to the slide number 18. I'll give them briefly how it works. So, on the left side, there is a small mountain. Consider where you are. Mountain. That's the peak that you want to go in any aspect of the challenges that you're looking at in life. Okay. Or as a leader or in the organization. What theory U does gives you a path to go there. And that's the U that you're talking about, the yellow color, that's the U. In theory, you talk about, that's the U we are talking about. To go there, you have to pass through a valley here. And what does it require? It requires you to be aware about your downloading past patterns. I will tell a little more about that. So consider you have a past patterns already in your brain filled up with that. What you see is always coming from there, from the reference into the past. You'll have to recognize that, then suspend that, see things from fresh, see your world with fresh eyes. You have sensing from the field to your intention. You have to redirect sensing from the field. You got to look at the field that you're operating. You have to see from there, that place. Like Anil was saying, I have to see from what customers want from that place and redirect your intention and let go all your cynicism, let go your fear, and come to a point where you start letting go about your own self, whatever you hold on about yourself, your limitation of self, letting go that, and being and presencing your highest possibility. See, there's an inner knowing that who you are about yourself, letting that come up, show up for you or present to you, and that will have you see a future that wants to come, letting come a future, letting go and letting come. And then instead of that,
SK, we lost you again. Audio. We lost your audio.
Is SK still there or is gone?
Oh, he's gone.
Okay. Just bear with us, guys.
So, Chaitanya, maybe we can ask our fellow participants if
Yeah, we can
you have
ask a couple of
questions.
people to
Questions
share.
so far? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you
So
have questions about what SK has presented on the left side of the U, or a share of that, your experiences on that. Chaitanya and I, and maybe a few more here, have
so who
taken
somebody
theory courses.
was sharing earlier, right? What's his name?
Anil.
I'm back.
Anil.
Chaitanya, I'm back.
Yeah.
Chaitanya,
Oh, you're back. Okay, got it.
Go to the next slide. So let me share with you the process of theory. Okay, it's very simple, very powerful. Click on it, click on it. So there are three processes. One is observe, observe, observe. If you notice, we as human beings, we are very, we are not developed ourselves well in observing. Who observes the most? Can it someone, one of you tell me? Who observes the most you have noticed in your life?
Kids.
Yeah, absolutely, Nutan. They observe the most and they learn from observing, right? Now, if
Absolutely.
you are a parent,
Absolutely.
and if you are a parent and if you are aware about kids learn by observing, you will be so damn aware about what you're doing in front of them. But notice, we have lost our power of observation because we know everything now. What is there to observe? Nothing to observe. Our heads are filled with whatever you have already observed. So we are given by what? By our observed knowledge. Observe, observe, observe your challenges, your issues. You got to give some time to observe it. Get some new light to throw into it. And observing your access is deep listening practices. So in the theory program that we are we are offering, we offer you deep listening practices, which enables you to observe, throw some new light into the challenges that you're dealing with. The second part is retreat and reflect. Take a step back and reflect about what you see. These are the practices that enable you to connect to the source of inspiration. See, there is a knowing, inner knowing about who you are, but what you really want to make happen. You're not the person you think you are. Definitely not. There's a larger self that you're not connected to. Somebody may think this is spiritual. Yeah, it's kind of, but I won't categorize only as spiritual. There is a larger self that you are for yourself. You got to get connected to that. Retreat and reflect, and then act in an instant. So that's the the U process: observe, 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 retreat and reflect, and act in an instant. That is, you will crystallize the vision, and then prototype, and then move on. Now, in the theory program that we're talking about, the left of the U, up to the retreat and reflect, is the first level that we offer you. Once you participate in that, and then we support you in creating the prototypes, crystallizing a vision, prototyping, etc. That's the second part. That's the advanced course. But the first part, which is very, very fundamental, important, critical, is for you to go to the left side of the process. All right. So, any questions? Anything about that? I think I'll give you a time to question. I'll go to the next slide, Chaitanya. I'll take you to the next slide. So, to be a leader who is able to actually lead from the emerging future, you need to then develop yourself in three important spaces and develop 7 capacities. The 3 spaces that you will develop is sensing. What? Sensing what? Transforming the perception. That you got to now develop your ability to sense. Sense what? Sense what's happening over there with the team or the environment. or about what's happening, really happening in the situation, and sensing. So you got to get development in that sensing, transforming the perception. The second, second space that you need to develop, needs development, is presencing. That is transforming self and your will. You being operating from your larger self that you are, not the small identity that you hold on to, your position, your relationship, your money, your status, whatever that is. But really being operating in life from the larger self, that's presencing. And third space that you have to develop is realization, that is transforming action. Most of you notice your actions are paralyzed because of analysis. Analyze, 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 land up with paralyze. You don't get swiftly into action. Action, there's no sense of that. It's always either laborious way of doing things or not doing it at all. Transforming action. So these are the three spaces, 7 capacities. What capacity? First capacity is suspending, able to recognize the judgment and suspending them. Second capacity is redirecting your attention from you to out there. Third, ability to third capacity, letting go. I hear people, it's very difficult to let go. But that's a capacity you have to develop. What are you holding on to? Unless you let go that you are small, you will not have an open will to take on bigger challenges in life. Unless you want to let go your comfortableness, that wherever you are operating from, you will not be able to take on bigger things in life. So letting go, letting come. You got to be a space for a new future to show up. If you go to an ocean,
You're choppy, SK. Say it again. Last 2 sentences.
Okay, good. Let him come. He comes from you being a space for a larger future to show up. You can't be a teeny mini space. It's like you go into the ocean and you're going with a spoon. You get that much water. You bucket that much water. What are you going to the party with? Are you a space for a larger future to show up? Right. That's a capacity you have to develop. You have to develop capacity to crystallize your intention. You have to develop your capacity for prototyping your intentions. And then you have to develop a capacity for institutionalizing. So in the theory program, we support you or we enable you to develop these 3 spaces and the capacities. That's what we offer. Okay, good. Any questions? Any comments in what I said so far? Anybody?
Should I stop sharing, SK, so you can see everyone?
Yeah. I can see. And then I have one last thing to do after I hear from people what they're getting, what are the questions, any comments about what they heard. Anybody? Okay, good. Which means you got everything. What I said.
They like your slides. SK,
yeah,
they
like
love your slides.
Anil was having an interesting conversation with you earlier. Is there anything he wants to add?
Hello? Chaitanya, you said something?
Yeah. No, I was saying Anil, I think it was Anil who was having a very interesting conversation with you earlier about his business challenge.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd like to hear. I'd like to see if he has something to say after the last couple of slides.
I got it about eco. It's just that mind keeps falling back into the individual limited self, ego.
Yeah.
So the only way is to just remind myself, catch myself. Is that so? That I'm much more larger than this small mind, this small identity, and there's
Yeah. Anil,
yeah.
Anil, in a way it is right, but you want to get the reality is by knowing that I am engaging with the smaller self only does not make a difference. You got to access your larger self. That means experience your larger self. See what, as I told you before, the whole world is oriented towards getting more and more knowledge. So you got some knowledge in what I said. You got that, but there's no real experience of it. It's good to know. Good. Sai said well. SK said good. He said I have to let go my smaller self. Remind my larger self. No access to it. That's knowledge. But when you experience it, no, Anil, that's a different world altogether. Like you're a father of a child, right? You're married, you have children.
Right.
Now, you go to an unmarried person and talk about what is to being a father. He gets, yeah, Anil sir, correct, this is to be a father. But he has got no real experience of it. When you speak from the world of a father. That's what we talk about transformation. A transformation is in the real experience of it, not as the knowledge of it. There's certain realization that you're present, and then there is a before and after world. Both will be there. It will not go. But you'll have a choice. Do I operate from the old world or do I operate from the new world that I am aware? And the more and more you practice from the new world, the more and you will become masterful in that. See, going through transformation does not resolve anything from you. Does not resolve. It now gives you access for a new approach in developing your life as a leader. It doesn't resolve your problem. It gives you a new approach. So in the program, you're not going to solve your problems, but we want to give you a new approach to look at your life. Right? Which is a completely different paradigm. Thank you very much, Anil. So moving on, Chaitanya. Now I'm going to share with you one of the tools, the very important tools that we develop you in this program. What is the tool that we're talking about? Don't share anything. Let it just be okay. I'll ask you and you can shift, Chaitanya. See, one of the things I told you that you and me are always referencing from the past. Always. Why do we do that? Why? What is the source of our always referencing? Listening. To give you another insight, me believe.
SK, your voice is getting cut off again.
Your eyes, but actually don't see through your eyes. You function of what you hear.
SK, we are not able to hear you. SK, 1 second, we are not able to hear you.
Not able to hear me? Are you able to hear me now?
No, the last 30 seconds, the voice was getting chopped off. You got to repeat what you said.
Okay, good. What we as human beings believe is through our eyes, but consider we don't see through our eyes. We see through our eyes from what we hear. We listen to our own commentary, our judgment about what we see, and we see exactly that. That's why, there's one thing to observe, and there are 100 views that is shared about it. Why? because 100 people are seeing through their own judgment about that. So the critical then tool that we need to develop ourselves is in the area of listening, deep listening. Chaitanya, can you shift the slide? So in the Theory U program, we develop your ability in deep listening. We distinguish for you that you and me as human beings, the standard way of listening or the habitual way of listening is downloading. What do you mean by downloading? Habits of judgment. You like it or not, you see something, you have judgment about it. I'm asserting that last 1.5 hours that you have been with me, 90 minutes with me, you've been constantly judging and evaluating me. Yeah. Right. No. It's not no. I agree. I don't agree with this. Right? And that's normal. That's habitual. Habitual way. It's called downloading. Right? What does it do? It confirming your old opinions, or it is judging, or both. That's all it does. So if you imagine you are in a room, okay, and you are in the center of the room, there are walls in front of you, windows, but all curtains are closed, and your head is connected to a projector. And whatever is happening in your head is projecting. What do you see? You see the walls, the screen, everything is projecting what is your judgment about the world, about people, about situation. That's all you will see. That's called downloading. You can't see anything beyond your downloading. But when you get aware, oh, that's my downloading. When you get aware, then you go to the next, you have a next opportunity. You get up from your chair, you go and draw the curtain out, and you see, oh my God, that's a different world over there. What I saw is my projection. There's a different world waiting out there. You begin to see new data there. Data that you never saw. That is disconfirming about your view. That's called factual listening. Right? That's why human beings get attracted when somebody puts fact. Remember, I put some facts up front for you. That 20% people who are disengaged, it's very easy to engage. It's very easy to give. Sorry, I said you can poach people for 20% extra salary. You got very thrilled about that data. Disconfirming data, factual. But that's not enough. Then there's a third level of listening. That's called empathetic, where you have an emotional connect with the other person. You are seeing through the another person's eyes, which requires a state of open heart. So the first one, when you start doing the factual listening, your open mind, you are suspending your judgment and you actually open your heart. And what?
Hello?
Eyes.
Yes, Vivek.
Hello, yeah.
Chaitanya, SK,
Yeah.
your internet is not working?
I think it dropped off again,
Hello?
I think.
Hi, Vivek. Yeah,
I'm here.
SK's
I'm there,
internet is not stable, and he's now using his mobile. But we've been progressing, and he's now in this slide.
Chaitanya,
Oh, SK is still around. Okay.
Can you hear me, Mayan?
Yes, I can hear you.
Good. Okay, good. All right. Then, from empathic level of listening, you and me are able to move to generative listening. What is generative listening? Listening from the future that wants to emerge, connecting to an emerging future. And there is a whole shift in the identity. Now, you can go up to empathetic listening. You cannot do generative listening. Generative listening is an outcome of empathetic listening. You cannot, okay, let me listen from the future. It's not happening. It'll automatically happen. It'll emerge. When you do empathetic listening. Okay, so these are the 4 level listening. So I want to work with, I wanted to, I'm not going to work with anybody right now because we are little extended with time. So I want to give people to ask questions, etc. So one of the things that you can start looking at is in those challenges that we talked about in the beginning, your leadership challenge, organizational challenging or organization challenges, consider what is there is a lot of downloading. Your habits of judgments is there. You have a lot of judgment about the challenge itself. You have a lot of judgment about the people around you dealing with. You have a lot of judgment about yourself. And that's continuously happening. And if you are willing to be open mind, and discover that judgment and suspend it, you will begin to discover new data. So I leave that, that assignment to you to discover your downloading, habitual judgment, continuous judgment. And it's nothing wrong about you as a person. That's our default way of living as human beings. If you're able to discover that, suspend that, I assure you, you will see new things that you never saw before in people speaking, in in the situation. You will see discover new data which you can act upon. Right, there are other tools, we call it empathy walk, stakeholder interview, a lot of them in the U process. So that's a little about, I wanted to share with you about what could be the future of leadership and what could be an outcome of the organization if such leaders are available in the organization. So that's a little about thank you very much for your listening. Thank you very much for your attention and time. Now I'm going to present with you about what's next for you. So those of you who are interested that you want to be developed yourself as a leader who can sense from the emerging future. Then we have an opportunity for you. We have 2 programs scheduled. The first program is scheduled next week, which is on 18th and 19th, Saturday and Sunday. Saturday and Sunday, 2-day program.
SK, you have to repeat that again. We lost you
Indian
again.
time, 12 p.m.
SK, you got to repeat that again, SK. We lost you for a few seconds. Is the information on the slide?
Is there a slide for that?
Hello?
Can you look at Chaitanya?
No, that's the last slide.
Okay.
I'm going to stop sharing.
Can you unshare?
SK, can you share the dates again, the schedule?
Yeah, I'll share the
2 programs.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So the 2 scheduled dates for the program are, the first one is, which is just immediate, next weekend, 18th and 19th of September. It is Saturday and Sunday. It starts at 12 p.m. Indian time, IST, and goes up to 8 p.m. Indian time. So that's 8-hour program, 12 to 8 Indian time, Saturday and Sunday. And then later, after a week, you will have 6 sessions of 2 hours, 2.5 hours on a weekday. It will be either on a Monday or a Tuesday, depending on the mix of the crowd. We will organize that. For example, in the last session, we had a mix of crowd with lot of people coming from Europe and a lot of people coming from Southeast Asian countries. So we have one we have kept on Saturday. Right now, seminar is going on Saturday. Other one we have on Mondays evenings. So depending on the mix of the crowd, we'll schedule those 6 sessions. That is like you get the whole deal in the 2 days, and the 6 sessions you actually practice them. Okay, because practice is one thing will give an access to actually live it. The other schedule, if you cannot make it on the 18th and 19th of September, then you can
SK, can I share the brochure?
You can share, yeah. If you cannot participate on 18th and 19th September, you can participate on the 13th and 14th of November. That is another 6 weeks later. So that is how, that's another program you can participate with. After that, it will be only in the month of January. Okay. And so there again is 2 full days and 6 sessions. The cost of the program is in GBP, it is £500, but now in the COVID times, it is offered at £250. In Indian rupees, it is 25,000 rupees plus GST, 18% GST, right? And we will or you could which is given on the slide, and you can ping them and they will support you into completing your registration. For those of you who want to participate in the November month, I recommend that you could register to yourself to the program, book your seat by paying £50 or 5,000 rupees, and pay the balance 2 weeks before the program, that is by the 1st of November, right? So you can book your seat today or this week earliest, right? You can do that. So that's the logistics of the program. Right. So those of you who are willing to register, you can do that right now. Those of you who have questions for which will support you in participating, please ask them to us now. We're going to be here till another 20 minutes, right? So please feel free to ask questions. Those of you who are clear, want to register, go ahead and do that. And we are here for some time. So anybody has got any questions about what we talked about today, about registering, about anything? Go ahead, please do that.
Okay, this is Abby from Manila.
Yes, Abby.
Hi.
Hi, Abby.
I really appreciated all the questions that you asked us during the session, starting from what our challenges are and why the challenge exists, and then followed by what is the challenge in the larger system and what is our own blockage. Those series of those questions really great inquiry into my perception about my challenge. So thank you so much. And I also liked you and Anil discussion on his intention, and you asked what is echo intention. That was also a really great question, which I will definitely go back to myself.
Thank you, Abby.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. And when you discussed why the leadership deficit in the world exists today, you mentioned that the gap between knowing and taking action. So Otto often mentions that the gap between knowing and doing, fill the gap between knowing, doing. And then that is the gap between the head and hand. And Otto says we fill the gap with the intelligence of the heart. So the heart part is really missing discussion in a lot of leadership development. So I hope that, it's a very interesting session, 2 hours. Thank you so much. It was not a question, just what I felt.
I understand. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your feedback. I really appreciate it. Who else want to have a question or any comments? Anything want to share? Any clarification that you want?
Yes,
Tanmoy, then we have Po, Monica, Mohammed Farrakhan, Martin, Jay, Cheng, anything. You can share anything. Questions like, yeah. Go ahead. Who wants to share?
SK, the question, this is Atul here. I think
Atul,
I did not respond. Yeah,
no problem. Atul.
Responded earlier in the conversation. I think thanks for the I think the broad briefing, and it kind of really opened a lot of ideas. And the only question that I was trying to understand a little more is that what I think for me it will be more useful. It will be going from this listening modes that you talked about. I think that will be quite useful for me, professionally and personally as well.
Absolutely. You said it right. Personally, a lot actually.
Yeah. So one of the kind of constant feedbacks that I am getting from my peers and stakeholders are primarily that I'm little kind of too direct and more about there's no sense of it's more of an action-oriented work, activity, task-oriented, rather than engaging people in a way that more about working towards it, and which I think is quite useful to kind of this kind of a framework to apply. So I think the broader question is that if I want to register only for, let's say, this this only listening programs, like that, because that will be immediately useful for me. Is that which one will be like 18th or 19th program, or both of the programs will cover that part?
Both in it's 18th and 19th, and the November program 13th and 14th, the same programs. This is one batch. There's the other batch, and you'll get the whole deal. Not only listening, you'll get much more.
Okay. So is that, I think the next question is more about listening part is more about experiential, in the sense that how you can control your own. So I think the broader question over here is that I can understand all the theories, concepts, processes, diagrams, everything else, but how do I put that into a practice in a way that I am able to differentiate that? So because it's more of an experiential thing, so how what kind of tools and how are things that will be suggesting us that will be putting that onto more toward an experiential world, or we can experience that thing? Because let's say if I'm just saying that, okay, if I'm doing a judgment, but how I have to pause myself, it's like a controlling my own mind, right?
Yeah.
So what kind of tools that will be deploying or suggesting for us to help that?
Atul, one of the things that we're going to give you tools is to bring more and more awareness to you. Okay, see, you can't control your mind. That's a bad news, by the way. Because mind is designed for giving you all sort of comments and whatever views. Okay, it is doing its work. Like you can't control your heart, can you? It's like that. It's operating. It's natural. So, but there is awareness in you, which most human beings have not tapped that awareness. That you are not distinguished between your thoughts, your feelings, and Atul are three different things. Then there is this conversation that the downloading is not Atul. That's downloading you have. But you start observing it, noticing it. You can separate out from that, which means though when your boss comes in front of you, you have a downloading called is the biggest idiot in the planet. Like I had, okay? I'm telling from my, he was the biggest idiot in the planet. I could suspend that. I could connect with him. I could see how much love and trust he had for me. So from my relationship with completely altered. It was so surprising for people around me. The guy who used to fight with this boss is so friendly and they're working collaboratively. How is it possible? Because I was aware and I could suspend my judgment called he's an idiot and get connected to that human being. So in this program, we're going to give you tools and develop, which is you will realize it. Like as I told Anil, you have to experience it. You will experience it. Once you experience it now, it's like you learn bicycling, right? Cycling. We will say when you first in cycle, don't look down, look forward and all that. Anything doesn't go in your head. But when you get balance, you don't look down at all. You go, you look in front of you and keep riding. You enjoy all the bumps and the downs and the highs. You don't care. You'll go. That's the difference between knowing from shifting from knowing to getting into the, like Abby said, getting connected to your heart. You really, the connection between the heart and the head happens.
SK.
Thank you, Atul. So which one you want to do? You want to do it in September or you want to do it in November?
I'm trying to look for September because that works for me. So I just need to look a little bit of logistics.
You have taken the WhatsApp numbers of.
We have shared the brochure in the chat as well.
So you can click,
download,
you can share it with Manoj or Vivek, one of them, and they'll support you. Okay, in any which way. Yeah, thank you, Atul. Thank you for the question. Yeah, very good. Yeah, who else? Anybody has got any questions, comments, anything to share?
Hello. I need to ask who has already done this program and want to attend it again. Then what is the protocol?
If you already done the program, you want to attend again, you pay 50% of the course fee. You are a reviewer.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can do the whole program plus the 6 sessions also. Okay. All right. Who else? Anybody has got any questions, any comments or clarification? Yes, Mayan, go ahead.
Just to quickly share that my experience of this course, this seminar, which I did 2 years back, is that, and I've also read it, read theory, watched videos of Otto Scharmer, but the difference in my participation in this kind of setting is that the methodology is what we call Socratic, or it's an inquiry type. So it's led by, seminar leaders, senior seminar leaders like Ferdi, Manoj, Vivek, and soon to be maybe SK, But the way they would do it is not to lecture us on what the theory is about, but there's a bit of a discussion of the framework, and then there will be tools, but it will be immersed. We will all be immersed in applying it to our own situation. So there will be exercises. It's full of exercises and then sharing, so that the learning becomes grounded on practice, and then the transformation can happen as we do the application and the practice. So we'll have a taste of the actual transformation using the tools themselves. And then the 6 weeks after that would be like muscle building, like, constant practice again under coaching, so that we, our blind spots, we can see them, and we have an opportunity for our own breakthrough. So that's what I can say. Very different from lectures.
Thank you very much. Excellent.
Yeah.
Very good, Mayan. Thank you for sharing that. All right. So with that, we have another 5 minutes left. We want to formally close the session, right? And those of you who have questions can stay and ask. We're going to be here for a few more minutes, right? And those of you, who don't have questions, want to leave, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for your attention. You are very generous giving that both to us. And we look forward to have you in our programs at the earliest. Thank you very much. Good evening and good night and good afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you,
very
Martin.
much.
Thank you, Avi.
Thank you for inviting me, and thank you, SK. Thank you, Chantanya, everyone.
Thank you, Abby.
Bye.
SK, thank you as well.
Hey, thank you, Mayan.
For holding the space.
Yeah, thank you, guys. You guys I had
All
such a
right.
breakdown. I never saw that the internet will go bad.
It
Thank you.
happens.
Yeah.
In the new
Bye.
normal, it happens. All right. Good night.
Bye-bye. Good night.
See you
Good night.
soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.
SK, they were asking for the slides. I
Oh,
don't know
yeah?
if that's shareable. Like Tanmoy here, he's still here in the room.
Oh,
He had
okay.
been asking.
Right.
So up
You
to
want
you.
more knowledge, Tanmay?
That's what I was saying. I was telling another participant, like,
Yes,
just
yes, that was very good because I am thinking of not step like next weekend. My schedule is full. I'm thinking of doing in November or January, but I
Okay.
want to just go a little bit deeper into the subject and then I will make a decision. But the slides were really good because I'm sorry because I joined a little late.
What
So
you
I
do,
missed.
you buy a small book called Leadership from the Emerging Future by Otto Scharmer. It's a small book, okay? You get a lot more data in that.
Oh, okay.
It's called Theory U. Theory U. Basic.
No, I have the book actually. Even I think they have a program through which is
edX.
starting now in Coursera or something like that. I have
Oh, yeah,
that.
yeah. edX is there. Yeah.
Yes, but I still find that your slides are very good. You distill the information in a very nice way. So
Okay, got it.
that's why I was
Yeah.
thinking that if you are willing to share.
Yeah, you give me your email ID.
Yeah, I just give you your just give me 1 minute.
Yeah.
Okay, SK.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I will give you a call and I need more details about the November thing. Because then I will sign up for that one as well.
All right. Tanmay. Mayan, take care.
Yes.
Bye bye.
Yes. See you on Monday, I guess.
See you on Monday.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Bye. Good
Bye.
job. Good job.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Chaitanya. Bye.
Bye, man.
Tanmay, where are you from? From Kolkata?
I am right now in Kolkata. Yes.
Where do you work?
Yes. I work for a company called MMC.
Oh, okay. MMC is that my mineral trade? No, mineral trading.
No, they're into insurance, reinsurance. I actually
okay.
work as a agile coach. So I think this is
Wow.
really relevant for me. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. If you're an agile coach.
Should I stop the recording, SK?
Yeah, you should stop the recording.